I was late, but damn, oh, here I am. Here I am.
Hello. How y'all doing? We back at it again. Episode 6. We about to lock it in for the books. This is TOD podcast. That's topic of discussion here on Intellectual Radio. And we want to talk to y'all about a couple of things today. We just came off of Fireside Chats, dropping it like it's hot over there. Now it's time for us to get down and dirty over here. So let's get into it. When we talking about marriage this episode, we're gonna backtail a little bit on the prior conversation as well into fatherhood one more time. But we are talking about men in marriage. Are we scared? Are we not scared? What's going on? Is it worth it? Well, let's work it. Okay, right here, right here. You talking to your favorite guy, son. It's chill on the mic. Let's go around the room one time for the fun time.
What's up, y'all? Once again, this is Raphael.
And this is Vic Taylor.
Yeah, this is TOD podcast, man. We here with 6th episode. My name is Big Lee.
Come on, Ralph. Don't be giving them the whole thing. Just say it's Ralph G. Tell him again.
I've grown to like my name. So, Raphael.
Okay. Man, we made it, man. 6 episodes in. It's really funny. We have halfway for the year. Just when we think about the past a little bit, from where we started to where we're at. It's been a lot of development, a lot of pushing through, and I commend y'all for that. And like I said, we just guest on Fireside Chats for the 4 p.m. show today. And I do want to clap it up one time for Miss Sister V, because I definitely want to give her
Big
her
shout out
flowers.
to her.
Yeah, for bringing us on, and for the fact that she has been able to take accountability and change. Like she said, she once was that woman or that baby mama, and now she has turned a whole new leaf. And I think moving into even the discussion, that is what we're looking for in its entirety, is for people to take accountability and turn over a new leaf. I think that's part of this whole gender war thing, and I think that is part of this conversation. Are men scared? Are y'all scared? I know about half our crew is married, the other half isn't married just yet. But I think just for the whole realm, are men scared to get married? What do y'all think about that?
I wouldn't say scared, more so nervous, if that make a little bit more sense. I'm nervous about the D word. That's a possibility behind marriage. Devo. Don't want to experience that.
Can't be afraid of that.
I mean, nervousness comes from it's a form of fear. Like that's fear. So if you really want to talk about it, and we're talking about words, and fear. I think there's a certain part of us that we all are afraid of, not actual marriage, but the outcome of it. You're not afraid to marry. You're not afraid to be committed or anything of that degree, but you are afraid of what that outcome might be if it doesn't work.
Exactly.
Because like I always say, as for men, we always think about we think ahead, right? So the what if this doesn't work, or what if this happened? What situation will I be in if this was to happen? Women don't think about that when they think about marriage, because they thinking about everything else that leads up to it: the proposal, the engagement, the wedding. You know what I'm saying? All the anniversaries and all that other kind of stuff. That's where their mind is at. There's no fault to that, but from a man's perspective of marriage, if it ends, God forbid that it does, what will happen to me?
True.
A woman is good throughout the whole entire duration, whether it works out or not. the woman is good.
That's the part of
you know what I'm saying. So when you say, are we scared? I think we are just scared of the outcome, of a bad outcome.
Okay, so women are more, it sounds like what you're saying is they're more gazing at marriage from a wedding standpoint, all the perks. They looking at all the good times, but not necessarily the rough adversity and things like that. And we're looking at it the opposite direction. We're looking at adversity first, then all the stuff on the perks is a plus. That's on the back end, but we looking at going through the fire first. Okay, I get what you're saying.
I would say men have a lot of negative views on marriage, and because of that, they don't feel like there is an advantage, but the advantage is um, actually having someone, having a companion, having a partner that has your back. So I believe that because of all the negative stigma, you could say that men are scared because of that. But I believe that during that the dating stage, the vetting stage, that's when you're supposed to understand who your partner is. And like you said, like the perks of women looking at it in a sense like, oh well, I have the advantages, or I'm looking for the married, the good days, the marriage, the happy days. They looking for that, but not willing to withstand the storms. It ain't always gonna be good days. It ain't always gonna be happy, joy, joy. So is the person I'm gonna marry gonna be able to withstand that? Understand that part.
Yeah, I think that's a very perfect example of what you use, Vic. It's like I feel like with the right person under the right circumstances, marriage could be a beautiful thing, bro. But it's like, what if he or she wake up the next morning and they decide they don't want that no more? What's gonna happen behind that? And that's the part I think I'm scared of the most when it comes to something like that.
Okay, so you are a little scared.
A
So
little
it
bit.
ain't nervous. It's a little
Both
scared.
of 'em. Both of 'em.
So with that being said, though, what I'm hearing is we either have women have a more optimistic viewpoint of marriage and men have a more realistic or pessimistic. It almost sounds like it's leaning pessimistic. I'm good with being realistic about marriage, but is it more pessimistic? I'm kind of hearing that because that negative stigma, is what if they wake up one morning and they don't want this no more? And I think women could have that same thought process. What if he don't want me no more,
Definitely.
Jody?
Right.
All of that kind of thing. So
So
that's what I want to get to. Like, it doesn't have to be pessimistic at all. It can be a realistic standpoint. And I know the way we go through life, we have to go through the realistic points first, right? Because life don't really give us that sunflowers and roses. We kind of like, you start at the bottom of the mountain, you climb up, and women are kind of at the top and they just can't fall. So go ahead. What you about to say?
No, I'm agreeing with what you're saying. I believe that too. Like we kind of as men, we forged in the fire. So it's like, hey, I can withstand this. So the fear of that, like you said, maybe divorce. I've been through a divorce. I filed the divorce. I was not afraid. Only thing I was concerned was about my kids, and even going through that process, we got to get to a point that you can't be afraid of that, because at the end of the day, your mental health, your physical health has to be implemented as well. You have to be your own advocate. I don't think it's enough men that's being advocates to say, yes, you are going to go through situations in your life that you're not going to be comfortable in, but that does not mean don't do it. So
I think
pessimistic.
that goes back to that show we had when we were talking about men's happiness and how we don't put it at the forefront. We kind of put it on the back end to make sure everything else is good. And with this being men's mental health month or whatever, obviously by the rate of suicides and things like that, like I say, 600,000 men in a year, 75 an hour, 70% of suicides are men and things like that. We're not talking about our happiness. We're not making the decisions to make divorces, right? That's 70% plus are women initiated. So I think that's where that's why y'all, I know that's why y'all feeling that, because it's like, well, they're the ones initiating the divorce. It ain't us. So why are they doing that? And I know that there was a study conducted where they, and it was they took about 10 different women, and I forgot the name of it. They took 10 different women and asked them, hey, they're divorcees or divorcees. And they asked them, hey, would you consider remarrying your husband? 7 out of those 10 women said yes, they would want to be back with him. They all had different reasoning, but it was on the lines of they wish they would have knew what they knew now several years down the line. So obviously a lot of these decisions the women are making obviously have to be emotional or not, or a little irrational, that they're coming back ready to renege on the divorce to get their man back. So with that being said, guys, that impact um on our mental health and that impact just in this community and things like that has left us a little astray on where were we scared or not. I wasn't scared when I got married at all. I think I vetted my woman out. I tested her tried and true and saw a couple of things, and I said, okay, let's get it going. Because I think there's a benefit for men to get married. I think there's probably more. I think the concept really is there's more benefits for women to get married than there is men, but there are benefits for men. Okay. What do you think about that, Gary? Do you think, because I
I
know we
mean,
had a Discord about this. So
this is me solely going based off my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Because I ain't been married, and you know what I'm saying. For the
No
most part,
shade, no shade.
and for the most part, outside of y'all, I really ain't seen no good examples of marriage. You know, I've seen a lot of people staying because they settling. A lot of people don't want to get divorced because of the money situation on one end or the other. But it's just like it just don't seem like it's really no benefit for men being married, in my opinion. Because me personally, I feel like nothing should change after you marry. You know what I'm saying? You have some people that say, well, no, I'm willing to do this and do this more if I am married. So that's kind of why I get confused based on it. Did anything change for you after you got married prior to?
not in particular. I think we kind of locked in. Me and my wife kind of locked in the foundation, and then when we got married, it wasn't like a greater expectation. The expectation was already in motion of what I was expecting, what she was expecting, and the consensus was we're going to get better over time. That was really it. Like, we're going to get better over time. I didn't want to put too many expectations out there because that's an easy way to let yourself down, and that can deter you from wanting to be married when you putting all this mass amount of expectations on the marriage. It's still two people. You still coming together. You both still got growth and development going on. So don't overly expect anything. Again, you guys are arrows in motion at that point. So no, nothing really changed for us too much. I mean, we changed. We both changed over time. You're gonna do that, but it wasn't a grand. Yeah, as soon as we get married, I'm expecting more of this and more of this, and because I kind of knew with women, when you give them the commitment, they need that to feel a sense of safety and security and to really lock in to be able to be free enough to do more anyway. So it's kind of like, duh, give it to them. Well, I ain't don't give it to anybody, but give that commitment to her so you can feel her on a more grandized level of what she's gonna give you in return.
Right. Yeah, I know it ain't gonna be all giggles and hallmark cards in a relationship. I know that off bat. I know it's gonna be them uncomfortable conversations. It may be some uncomfortable situations. My whole thing is, as long as I know you giving me your all, I'm giving you my all, and I'm loving the experience that I'm having with you, I can sit back and be like, you want to know what? I'm cool with experiencing this for the rest of my life. You know what I'm saying?
So you're gonna be ready to sign them papers?
Bro, you got anything to say, bro?
I think you just have to choose to commit to that person each and every day, and that's something that me and my wife speak about all the time. You have to choose to commit to that person, meaning that we both had an understanding that you're not gonna have great days all the time. We've been through situations, even we've been married 1 year now. We've been through situations that most people probably would have buckled, coming fresh into a situation, and then the unknowing. So it's always that that part, the unknowing. But if you had these conversations, meaning y'all communicate in the beginning, then when you get to those areas, it's easier to be like, you know what, even though we're in this situation, this the person I want to go through the situation with. So establishing that,
I feel that. I feel that.
With that being said,
All right.
y'all can chime in. It's just fine. It's totally fine. But with that being said, we know that about 50% of marriages end in divorce, right? So that's a sad number. And the average, I think, Black marriage lasts around 5 years. So at least for the Black community, for Black couples, if you can make it to year 5, your chances of staying married are going to increase tremendously. So at least be, shooting for that. And I don't see why a lot of people are not thinking about, when you get married, you're cohabitating. That's a challenge. Especially if you never lived with a woman, she never lived with a man, y'all got to figure that whole thing out. If y'all happen to have children prior to or after the marriage, but let's at least after the marriage, right? Because we should have got married first, right? So you have children after that. Now y'all got to learn how to co-parent. That's another challenge. And then on top of that, just the everyday trials of trying to, be better for each other and mingle with each other. That's so you got three challenges working in your marriage, and those ain't the easiest things to do. So I think people have to give it its due credit. When we're talking about marriage, and even when we say, oh man, it's just bad, it's just no, it's hard. It's two things. People are processes. The process of marriage is not bad. It's not broken. It's perfected, right? It's perfected by the creator. It's the people in it that have the issue. So we have to become better people as we're going through that process, and it'll work itself out just fine.
And just going through life in itself, like you said, you want to have a decent marriage. I believe is gonna be hard. Like just going through life, nothing, nothing that you willing, good things that come in your life, you don't get them that easy. You gotta work for them. You gotta work for them. And marriages, that's something that's a part of that as well. So I get you on that.
So what is it about the signing of the papers? Is that well,
All right, bro, listen. So
Still wanna talk about that.
my whole thing is, like I said, I really haven't seen no great examples of marriage. And that kind of piggybacking off of the conversation you had with Ms. V not too long ago, is like, if the woman initiates a divorce, or I've seen situations where the lady got to pay the guy. You know what I'm saying? So why, if we don't want this anymore, why do either one of us have to pay for it? So that's the part I don't get. Taking care of your kid or things of that nature, I understand. Like I said, I'm just going off my opinion and examples I've seen. I'm not saying stuff that's set in stone. But it's like, if you want to go, go. And if I want to go, I should be able to go. Why does anything have to be attached to that? That's the part.
Yeah, I
I'm
don't
really
think
not
it's
sure
always
of.
attached though. Everybody, when they go through a divorce, it's not always alimony and child support, and those are the two things where you're talking about, where it's like a financial attack on men. So even to what you said earlier, men are they're not afraid to marry; they're more so afraid of divorce. That's really what it is, and I think I even made a status on that a long time ago. Men are avoiding divorce; they're not avoiding marriage. Most guys initially want to be married, and I would like to ask everybody at that table that's not married. I mean, Vic's already married. I'm already married. For you all, for you three, do you want to be married? Do you see that in your life?
Yes, I would love to spend every day doing life with one person. I would love it. You know what I'm saying? But I want to make sure I'm in the right headspace mentally, financially, and spiritually, as well as my partner. And that's something that we take in day by day, and we're learning each other more and more every day. I'm not in a rush to do that. I'm willing to vow my life to you. Like, I'm not in a rush to do that. I want to make sure everything is cool before I make that commitment. Because me personally, I'm only getting married one time. I'm
It's
only
a good
getting married
idea.
one time.
Yeah.
So
I will also say, we're just going off what you're saying. You take your time. Yes, that's a fact that you should. But also, what you gotta understand is that you don't always have a whole lot of time. So if if you really realistically think about it, if a woman gave you a certain time limit, it wouldn't be 10 years.
I agree.
It would be something shorter. I ain't gonna say exactly what, but 10 years is a long time. So if you've been with that woman that long and you still have not given her that commitment, then when are you gonna do it, or you just is it off the table? I think you still have to go back to communicating that part. That's something that would bring in the fear or whatever. You still never communicating exactly why you have not done that. What's the reason why?
And I like what you said there. My whole thing with that is, I feel like if we both want it equally, we'll both put in the work, and we can decrease that time tremendously. Let's say somebody did give me 5 years. Let's say my girl said, you got 5 years to marry me. And me and her working with each other every day, we can easily bring that 5 years down to 2 or 3. If we working with each other, we can decrease that time frame, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, but what when y'all say working with each other and things, okay, I look at this. I got a daughter. I'm not about to tell my daughter, wait on this man's commitment and do everything with this man under the sun as if he was your husband, and give the whole store away to him because you waiting on this commitment. Now, granted, you have to prove to him that you are marriage material. You have to prove to him that you are a wife, and then he has to make you his wife. But don't give it. No, I wouldn't stand and let my daughter waste X amount of years and all that, because realistically, men tend to know early on whether you want to marry this woman or not. You kind of know at that point. You may be putting her through some tests to secure that, but like you said earlier, well, we can work on it until I give you this commitment. Well, what does work on it look like? Like
And
we can live together and
no,
do all of this stuff.
I was finna get to that because you made it sound real bad, especially you brought little mom into it.
Yeah.
But it's like it's certain things like this is something you're gonna have to do too, even with little mom. It's like you're gonna have to learn how to talk to her when she's frustrated. You're gonna have to learn how to help her with her emotions. You know what I'm saying? She's gonna have to learn how to talk to a male, which is gonna be you first. You know what I'm saying? You can address with her how she should be respected as a woman. These are things that you got to deal with bringing up your daughter as well as working with your partner. If something is wrong with her, I got to learn how to cater to that. If I'm having a crappy day, she got to learn how to come to me and make sure I'm secure in that particular part. You know what I'm saying? If something happened with her outside of us, I got to learn how to help her navigate through that. It may be times with something going on with me and I can't figure it out. I would expect, well, you want to know what? Let's try this way and see if that works for you. If it don't, we'll go back to the drawing board together. So that's what I mean by work with. You know what I'm saying? Just learn to understand each other more and more. That's all.
Yeah, but that the
Because
time
like y'all
limit
said, people change.
No, they
People
do.
change.
That people definitely change, but there is a time limit on some of this stuff, man. I wouldn't even tell my sons to spend X amount of years with a woman. And I bet, what you doing with her? Like, are you gonna marry her? Are you not gonna marry her? Well, I kind of want to marry her, but she not really demonstrate. All right, bro. Then hey, on to the next one. Cause I'm pretty sure it's a line around the corner. You know what I'm saying? For at least for guys, we have the leverage in today's market, especially. We have the leverage of marriage and picking who we want. The ball is in our court because they want our commitment. For us, we want their body. So there's the thing. So if you get in a body, then at that point you don't have as much incentive to really marry him, because like they say, why buy the cow when you get the milk for free? But they want our commitment. So, and I think there's just a lack of leadership with the parenting of this. Like I voted for arranged marriage. I said that before. Like, let's bring back arranged marriage, because parents have more wisdom to find suitable mates for either their daughter or their sons versus us when we go out and do it into the world. Because as we're doing it from a younger age and up, we're a little ill-equipped to make the right decisions, pick the right people. We've all wasted time on somebody. You know what I'm saying? And that time came with what we wasted. We wasted that. We wasted energy. Wasted some unnecessary trauma that you probably had to deal with that person. And you probably even not, got some kids out of it, or just men, period, got some kids out of that. That is like that you're thankful for the child, but you're not thankful for what you had to deal with to get that child. So, I think we need to be more mindful of that from a parenting standpoint, because your children are watching you. They're gonna model your behavior or the mama's behavior.
Yeah.
I mean, when you say commitment, you know what I'm saying? I definitely feel like you can be fully committed and not married. So is marriage like the full commitment?
I mean, it is in
like the ultimate commitment.
Well, it's supposed to be a covenant under the Creator, and I know everybody got different beliefs, but at that point, when we talking full commitment, and we talked about this the other day, when we talking about full commitment, being engaged in a willful act of trying to continuously be with this person, if you're saying, well, I'm doing that already, I just don't want to, sign them papers, so to speak, then why is it so hard to sign the papers? The papers are just solidifying that, because now you're being held to that. And I think what it is, people don't want to be held to that standard, because I still want the option to say, F this, I'm out. I think that's what comes down to this at that point. You want the option. And I say I'm talking about some men in general. You want the option to leave. You want the option at the end of the day to walk away and not have to be forced into a situation where you can deal with the person and have conflict resolution and things like that. So you're avoiding growth and development by that.
But you could do that when you married too, can't you?
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Yes. Do it when you married. Because realistically, why are we doing that unmarried? I mean, it's the opposite of how it should be. And I know that's our culture, but our culture is falling behind. We way behind everybody else, and we cannot continue to in this pathway and think everything's gonna be good. It's not. It's not working. Point blank. Period. We got to change it. So the change starts with yourself. You are a direct reflection of that change. Do that in your own household first, and then move forward amicably about the community. So at least you got to give a different message. Simple as that.
Yeah, society is not making that be a goal or expectation. Is you could get all that without, So because that's a societal standpoint, then you have a lot of people that's just not taking that advantage of marriage. So it's that part.
Can you elaborate, sir?
I mean,
Are you talking about like social media? What
no,
you
I
talking
was
about?
just I'm speaking about societal standpoint. So societal standpoint is not making marriage be a goal. That's the last thing on the list. Everything else is, in the forefront. Having kids and careers, and marriage is the last thing on the list on a societal standpoint. That's what I'm speaking about.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. But but finances is first on the list, right? Well, what's a cornerstone of impact and positive finances in the Black community? Marriage. At the foundation, the family. That's one of the cornerstones of building wealth. So why are we so worried about getting money, but we don't know how to get it? I mean, marriage is a business decision to merge yourself with someone else. I'm sorry, with a woman first, and I'm going to be specific now. Merge yourself with a woman and make the business decision to impact your pockets. As simple as that. So why
That's
we not
one
doing it?
standpoint of what marriage
Yeah.
should be.
Yeah, it is. But
That's
I'm
what
saying
I'm
there's an incentive since, like you say, marriage is like on the back end from everybody's goal list, but finances ain't. I know that's tip top, especially with today's economic situation. So people are deciding to move in together to save money. So they're not deciding to, well, let's get married too to advance the money.
Ain't
My
nobody moving in
viewpoint,
to save
to
money.
my viewpoint of marriage, I mean, like everybody, would like to be married and, spend the rest of their life with one individual and get the glimmers and glamours of marriage. Is also, marriage do have, like you stated, its benefits to that degree. But, I feel like it's no real time frame, right, to vet out an individual, because like you say, people change. But I feel like, as you being young, your expectations do change, right? And if you decide to get married young and knowing as you growing, you tend to grow apart. Like I feel like, not divorce is all in bad. It's just you look at your mate and you say it's not working out no more, and you separate, so you try to get that out the way before you make that full commitment to say, you let me go ahead and commit to you. But I want to get that feeling to where it's like, this is it. This is it. This is my life. Being with you is, and I feel like, over time that kind of you kind of that it tells itself, over time doing that. But when you're young, you don't really know what you want. You I want a woman to cook clean, and that's cool. But then as you get older as a man, you like, I really don't need that. I could do that for myself. I really don't need that. I could do that for myself. So now your expectation on having this woman or being with this woman has altered to some degree. And with that alteration, it's like, now are you the one? Like do you fit these set of qualities now? Can you provide me with now this at this point? And when you get there, then you don't mind, taking that commitment on. But when just saying, okay, bet, yeah, we're sleeping around or we're dating and I'm intrigued by your body and your looks, let's get married. And nothing's really there, or you didn't vet properly or gave it enough time. It's like you setting yourself up for disaster, you and her. And now you get into this marriage and now you are obligated to one another, but it's eating you up. It's killing you to continue to do this. But you made premature decisions in the beginning, and now you're obligated to now her, she's obligated to you,
You're
and
stuck.
you're stuck, you're struggling.
So at that point, it just sounds like you didn't understand what marriage was, and you thought marriage was the end goal, and it wasn't. It was the beginning. And that's what a lot of people keep missing marriage. They think marriage is the end, and it's not. You just start working when you get married. It's work. You got to do it. When you get married, it's you may have had kids, you may have been intertwined with each other, but that was not the way it's supposed to go. You may have had a house, you may have had a car, you may have had a career, but you was actually supposed to start this with that person. That way it don't feel like, oh well, now I got you, I'm in this position. Now what's next? This is what's next for the rest of our life. That's what's next. So let's switch it up though, man. What's the effects of
Did we get anywhere with that? I mean, we can switch it up, but did we get anywhere with that?
I think what we were just trying to get is we're just trying to get the information on the table. We can eat it slow or spice it up a little bit more, however, but I think it's more so to get the information out on the table so other men can identify with that. They can hear it. Maybe they heard a different perspective than they already have. They're able to relate to somebody at the table as well, so they can see which way they want to go with it. And then also for the women too, that they can hear a group of men discuss the marriage standpoint, because I'm pretty sure that there's a woman somewhere who's been with a guy for a little while. She wants to be married and she's trying to figure out what's going on in his head, how long she got to wait, or what have you. So I'm with you, Lee, on people not jumping the gun and getting married too soon. And there does need to be a vetting process, but again, I don't think we're super equipped to do that until we get older, after a couple failed relationships and things like that, where we do have the wisdom on how to decipher who's for you and who's not. But the sucky part about that is now you got the baggage from that other relationship and whatever that brought you, whatever that gave you, and that's why I say, man, the parents are supposed to be involved in this, and we get so grown so quick and we say, we got it. Really, the parents are supposed to be here helping, aiding, and assisting that, I know for the women, their dad, their uncle, or their older brother or whatever is supposed to help them pick out a guy. Because I'll be honest, ladies, y'all don't know what you're doing. You don't know how to pick. There's guys out here that can't even read and they finessing you. It's easy. Okay. You want to, I understand a lot of women out here is like, okay, well, I'm smart. Okay. You're not as smart as you think you are, but you may be smarter than I think you are. Okay. I'm gonna just be honest with you, because you're getting finessed too easy. All right. Men, I kind of expect y'all to make a more logical decision, because you're not overwhelmingly led by your emotions and things like that. Guys take a different approach on vetting women out for marriage, whereas for women, y'all got a different side of it. So get your older male influences involved in your decisions, because they tell you. And I've told my sisters when I got this guy, okay, and I'm asking direct questions about him. Well, I bring him around. No, I don't want to do that. Because I'm gonna tell him straight out the back, nope, you wasting your time. Nope, he ain't ready. Nope, da. Because my goal is to protect them. So that's what I'm going into this with. So if you don't have that male leadership around you, ladies, you're missing a protector. And I know you say, I can do bad all by myself. You sure can do bad all by yourself. That's the problem. Get you somebody that's gonna help you. Moving on. I'm just saying, But I know social media has some impact on all of this, man, because it's all over the media. Everybody's jumping in on this whole weighing in on this marriage conversation, and I think that's making it even harder, because now you're getting so many influences and opinions on it, and you trying to find out, should I be like Cardi B and Offset?
I was just about to say that, dog. Everybody want to be Cardi B. Everybody watching Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Right. Yeah, Real Housewives of Atlanta, Basketball Wives.
Crazy work.
And all we had was Hollywood Husbands, I think. And that was a comedy. I think that's all we had on Husbands. What a husband reality TV show. Right. So men can get that perspective of what goes on day to day. So it ain't just about spending money. That's what it seemed like. When you watch Basketball Wives and all them, all it is, hey, open your wallet, da. It'd be like, I know he got something else to say, but the show ain't about him, it's about her. You know, we need that men's reality TV show at that point on what marriage looks like from a man's point of view, and women need to see it too.
It won't be no show.
Yeah, that's it. It's not enough.
Won't
You
be
know,
no
men
show.
advocating for that.
I was gonna cut the cameras. Cut the cameras right now.
Yeah, that's crazy work, Brody. But like I was talking about earlier, though, man, it's all about the vetting process for men. Like you said, women do it a lot different. I mean, like I said, if I'm able to spend every day with you, kind of like what you said, if I'm able to spend every day with you, you don't get on my nerves as much. You know, we have some ups and downs. We're able to discuss them and handle them like adults. And I see I can rock with you. Like, man, I can accept this for the rest of my life. Like, I'm willing to work with this person for the rest of my life because, like, it's a partnership. So yeah, you're gonna have to work with them regardless. You know what I'm saying?
Vic, when Vic, go back to Vic comment when Vic stated, I must didn't understand what marriage consists of, or that marriage is the starting point.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I got him on that. And I just say it like this: there's a cake, and everybody looks at marriage as the fondant on top with the cherry on top. Cake is not that. That's the perks of what we see on social media and the falsehoods. Marriage is the batter. The marriage is the bottom layer of the cake, and then it builds up from there. So everyone's getting it mixed up on what marriage really is. It is the start of the race. Once you get to marriage, now it's so much more that comes along because now the foundation is set, the commitment is there. So now pile on the children, pile on the finances, the hard times, the lights getting cut off, and all these things. Because now we have commitment where you ain't going nowhere, I ain't going nowhere under this covenant with the Creator. So now we can absorb everything above us without our heads being underwater. But that's not what everybody's doing. It's inverted. Everyone's saying, well, let's see if we can do all these things without the base of the cake and expect the cake to stand. No, that's not. Because at the end of the day, now y'all got the option to say, I ain't doing this. Nope. I ain't
I don't
staying
even want to
here.
mix it no more. I'm done.
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
I mean,
No,
I believe that's all that the individual's outlook of it, right? So let's just say you're doing it from reverse angle, like you just said. At some point, you can be based off the individual. At some point, it's like, okay, we already been through all the stuff that that we possibly can go through if we were married. Just being in a basic committed 5, 10, 15-year relationship, right? So okay, oh boom, let's get married. Should nothing change after that?
That's what I was talking about.
In that regard of, you know what I'm saying, the things that you just said, the only changes in it when you start that way, the only changes that should be is just personal growth from each other. And if through the personal growth we're still aligning with the purpose of this marriage. Now, if you're growing in this marriage separately and I'm growing separately, I think and maybe I'm speaking from how I feel about
I'm
it.
with you on that,
You
bro.
know what I'm saying? If we're growing, if we're still growing and in the forefront, we're still, the basis is still there of we're married and we're going to work together through this growth, this personal growth or whatever the case may be, then I'm fine with it. But you can get to that point and you can grow separately, and I may not like the direction that you're going in, and vice versa.
And that's my point.
And then what? Now what we doing?
I much
Exactly.
rather say we dealt with that when we was dating. We
He
should have
had
to deal with
a
that
failed
while we
marriage,
married.
so he know
Yeah.
what that looked like and how
Yeah.
that feel. You in relationships, we in these relationships. Some people can't deal with the dynamic of certain things. Dated them 3-4 years, but you get married to that after a year, and now you killing yourself about the dynamic of whatever is on the back end. We have people that went through it, right, through the church, vetted their woman through the church, and still can't get in alignment of okay. And then they got the marriage, and still neither one of them want to put in the work to make the adjustment within themselves to make it work. It's a whole bunch of backdooring and all of this stuff going on. So it's just like you can say, yeah, that's the starting point, of the marriage, but it's like you have to set that time aside to vet and know who you dealing with, know who you're gonna commit to. before you jump that gun and say, oh yeah, we gonna get married and then we'll figure everything out later.
I had
Like, nah,
and,
that don't
yeah,
that
I
don't work
agree
for
with
me.
that. And it's like you can't put a time limit on it.
Exactly.
Like just because you got married in year 2 and another individual got married in year 10, like that don't make the person that got married in year 10 uh, in a worse situation in year 2, because as we all know, you know what I'm saying, you get married quick in year 2. Now you experiencing things in year 3 that if you would have known in year 2, you probably wouldn't have done it.
Exactly.
Facts. I always said it's cool to sacrifice a couple years for the rest of your life. I mean, if it take us 2, 3, 4 years to figure this out, I'm cool with that. Because once we, like you said, once we get this together, we done been through it together, we done came out of it together, we gonna be good forever now.
So like
I'm with 'em
like
on
I'm
that.
saying, in year 10, if we already didn't weather the storm with or without this marriage title, if we already weathered the storm, I marry you in year 11, I know
We gonna enjoy each other so much more.
because we
But
didn't already went through it.
exactly.
I don't have to marry you and then go through it, because now when I go through it and I'm going through something that I don't like, or I shouldn't have never went through, or this is something new, and I probably wouldn't have married you if I would have known this. I'm stuck in this obligation. Now I'm trapped. What are we doing? Now we just have to continue to grow.
Right.
That's
You
unfair.
forcing it now. You forcing the growth.
Mhm.
You see.
That's
I just
why-
have to continue to
that's when
accept this
that's when that
and
D word
love you
come
through
in.
this and be with you through this, and you know what I'm saying, commit to you through this.
So yeah,
But I don't like it. So now what we do? Just
you
just
still-
just like what you did. You get divorced, right? You know what I'm saying? No shot at you.
Nah,
no,
nah, it's good,
no
it's
shot
good.
at you. But I'm saying though, what happens? You get divorced, and now I've been married, divorced one time, and now I'm on my second marriage. It's like,
you went through a divorce when it's one sided. Period. That means that, yeah, like you said, if one person is growing, another person is not, and then y'all understanding, like somebody he had to get to a point that you understand, like we are not benefiting. Only I'm growing and you're not. So what? So I mean, if we came together,
but I know what it was, but what I'm saying is that
You would have vetted a
if
little
you would
longer.
have vetted a little bit longer,
You wouldn't have married her.
you wouldn't have married her to begin with, or
Exactly.
you wouldn't have married him to begin with.
Because it's not like she got married and changed, or your expectations was high. This is who she was. You just didn't give it enough time to see, or you were just naive to the fact.
no, I mean, because at the same time, you make vows to one another, and when you make those vows to one another, when you do not,
But you making vows too early, and you don't even give the individual time to really show themselves.
But
You gotta get at
I'm a
time.
chime in, Vic. 1 second. I'm gonna chime in to help you. I think that goes to the current study of people. The study is saying people are better off if they get married in their 30s now versus earlier in, because now we're more mature, we're more developed, we're more equipped. But that's more of a just being equipped to be married versus, well, you didn't date her long enough, or or technically dating is practicing divorce anyway. So we shouldn't be dating, we should be courting. That's with intention to marry. So it's not about how long you courted at that point, it's how equipped you were at the beginning of the courtship for both parties, how mature and how suitable we both were. Because I think a lot of what goes into that divorce factor is what people are finding compatibility. They're like, oh, we compatible, but that's seasonal. Like people change, but suitability is long lasting. At core, I'm a good person because I would be a good husband because I am a natural provider and I do that consistently. So that's suitable for you because you need a provider versus, well, we're compatible because I like Jordans and you like Jordans. Well, that may change because I'm sometimes I want Stacey Adams. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I say suitability versus compatibility and what that really means when that goes into the marriage factor. But it is a study saying that like now it's better. You're probably more better off to have a lasting marriage if you married in your 30s now compared to the earlier age that, let's say, our grand and great grandparents did. You know, So that I would throw that in there too. I don't think it's the
Yeah.
timeline of the courtship. I think it's just you're more equipped now. You have more wisdom on how to vet someone out. But
Absolutely.
that's why I say your parents should have been involved.
And then if we go back into, like you said, we having kids before marriage, and we doing a lot of stuff before marriage. So a lot of those be the reasons why people get married. They get married for the wrong reasons. So getting married for the wrong reasons is the reason why a lot of people have divorces as well. So I mean, you can't necessarily say, "Oh, well, you didn't vet her long enough." No, you married her for the wrong reason. That's the reason why y'all got divorced.
I mean,
Y'all,
I mean that's true too. Ain't nobody, but this is why I'm saying with this marriage stuff is too many variables with this. You know what I'm saying? It's too many variables. Courtship, vetting. Take your time. Don't take your time. This is the beginning. No, it's not the beginning. It's too much.
Maybe not, but it sounds like we gotta come back to this again. With time running low, it's starting to crank up now. But just know y'all gonna have to call in on the next show because it's about to get gold. Okay, we gonna continue this marriage debacle. You know, we gonna get it right because in the end of the day, we want to see couples thriving. We want to see Black love growing. We want to see the narrative for our community change, and that starts at the foundation. That starts at home, and we want a home and not a house. So let's build this marriage up the right way, or let's move on to the next person. As simple as that. If they ain't for you, forget them and get out of line because the line around the corner, like I said. Again, this is TOD Podcast, Intellectual Radio. Check us out. Come back with us for episode 7. This was 6 in the books. Peace out. We love you.
Be with my lady. Be with her is so grand, so grand, so grand. 'Cause she understands just what it takes, and that's whatever to be.